Everything we do is going to be about winning. Okay, we're going to learn to do things the right way, and that's the only way we're going to do them. Because if it doesn't help us, we're not doing it, man. That's just as simple as it gets. Win the Super Bowl.
That's
I
good.
mean it too. You know, one of the things that the only reason you become a head coach in this league, in my opinion, is to win. That's it. That's the bottom line. If you do it for any other reason, you're wrong.
Hey football fans, welcome to the Washington Command Center. Happy Draft Eve, everybody. Today, I'm dropping my final massive, record-tying 15-pick mock draft. And I'm wrapping it all up with realistic trade scenarios and cramming my favorite prospects that Washington has shown interest in into a mock that would rocket this team into the upper echelon of the NFL in this new era of Washington football, an era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. And what better way to kick off this new era than subscribing here to the first, the real, the OG Washington Command Center, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. While you're at it, ring that bell, hit that like button. It's free to do, and it means a lot. Okay, so this isn't predictive, and it isn't what I would consider realistic, but it's not impossible. All the picks are well within the range of the consensus big board, and it's based mostly on the interest that the team has shown, just with my gauge of how important certain positions are and how much attention I think they need, and which players, that they've shown interest in that I personally like best. Luckily, they've shown interest in basically all of my favorite prospects, no matter how far out the consensus view they are. Me and the team see eye to eye on the talent in this draft. Also, you might think the idea of a 15-pick draft is a bit ridiculous and unrealistic, but Minnesota just had a 15-pick mock draft in 2020. And I ended up with 15 picks with only 4 trades. So plenty of teams have made 4 trades, every year. A team makes 4 trades. So that's not that big a deal. And as far as fair, I made these trades as fair as possible using pick value charts, trade calculators, double checking my work. 3 of these trades were razor close, but the last one was a little less realistic, but still a very acceptable late day 3 trade where a team wanted to come up, and the value didn't quite add up on the chart, but nobody would say it was a crazy trade for the team to do. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and, before I get to the draft, I'm going to go over the trades first and talk about them and break down the values and, where we trade it from. So following in last year's footsteps, I traded back with the Saints again. We found a good partner in them last year. But moving back from 16 to 29, and because I wanted to boost the amount of picks and the return we got this year, I sent them next year's second. So pick 16 is worth 1,000 points, and next year's second round pick is worth 420 points. That's 1,420 points. In return, I got pick 29 worth 640 points, pick 40 worth 500 points, pick 71 worth 235 points, pick 115 worth 78 points, and pick 146 worth 32 points. That all equals up to 1429. So we got 9 points of value in trading back. And since they were coming up, that's as fair as you can get. After that, second trade I made with that pick 40 that we got, Traded that back with the Bears. Like I said, I'm shipping off futures to maximize, what we got this year. So I traded pick 40, which is worth 500 points. 2024's third round pick, which is worth 190. I sent 193, which is only worth 16 points. 215 is only worth 5 points. 233 is only worth 1 point. And then I sent 2024's fifth round pick, which is worth 34 points, for a total of 746 to the Bears. In return, I got 61, that's 292 points. 64, that's 265 points. 103, that's worth 99 points. 133, that's worth 48 points. And 136, that's worth 46 points. That's a total of 750 points. So, again, another very close trade. We got 4 points in value off that one. Very close trade. Then the third trade was with the Jags. Moved back from our second round pick at 47 and sent them next year's fourth rounder. That's 430 points plus 70 points for a total of 500 points in exchange for 56, which is worth 340 points, and 88, which is worth 150 points, for a total of 490 points. So we sent them, they got 10 points in value, basically. So they got the better end of that trade, but thrilled to get it. Finally, the last trade, the one that doesn't quite add up, but nobody would argue about it. The Cardinals wanted to come up to 150, and I taxed them 168 and 180. So 150 is worth 39 points. Their 160 is worth 29 points, and their 180 is worth 23 points. So we got over on them a bit there, but it's not the difference of the 10 points that the Jags got over on us. So it's not that big a deal. So those are the trades. That racks up to 15 points, 15 picks. So let's go ahead and kick those off. Back at 29, my favorite left tackle in the draft, Anton Harrison. He had a 72.6 PFF grade last year. He had a 7.92 RAS score. This is 4 spots before he goes on the consensus board, so well within reason. He's a top 30 visit guy. We had a combine formal meeting with him, a pro day meeting, and a Zoom meeting. The team loves the guy just like I do. He's from the DC area. He's the best pass protecting tackle in the class, I believe. And he would be a franchise left tackle going forward. No brainer for a pick. Then, moving back to our second pick, offensive guard / center, Steve Avila. He had a 71 PFF grade this season. He's got an 8.50 RAS. This is 5 spots later than the consensus, so hey, a bit of value, but definitely within reason, within range. He's another top 30 visit guy. We had a combine formal visit with him, Senior Bowl informal. We went to his pro day. This guy is just a wall of a man. He's 6'3", 336 pounds. Short enough not to get in Sam Howell's, line of fire there, but wide enough that he's going to keep anybody off of him. I love Steve Avila as a guard prospect, and he's got that position flex that Ron loves because he was even better as a center the year before. Moving on after that, our second pick in the second round, we got from trading back here, but further down, now on the Bear spot, cornerback Julius Brents. 74.9 PFF grade, 9.99 RAS score. This is 7 spots later than the consensus, still very much in range. We had a Senior Bowl informal meeting with him. We had a Combine formal meeting. We had a Pro Day meeting, and we've had a Zoom meeting with him. The team is definitely interested in this guy because he is like the souped-up version of Ben St. Just. 6'3", 34-inch arms, insanely great agility training or agility testing. He's just a beast. I was banging the table for this guy back when he was a 5th round projection. Then he came to the Senior Bowl and everybody got on him. Brent is very much a my guy, and I would love to see us get him. After that, again, another one of my guys. This is with the first pick of the 3rd round we got from that Bears trade back. Antonio Johnson Jr. This is a guy I would have been happy with getting at the end of the 1st round after a trade back before, but he's kind of fallen down boards a bit after his testing, and this dude is right after Brian Branch. I think he's the perfect nickel prospect in the class. I think he's got a bit more upside because he's slightly more athletic than Branch, and he's taller, he's longer, he's bigger. He had an 81.6 PFF grade last season. Even better grade the season before that when he played entirely in the nickel. He only had a 5.28 RAS score as a strong safety. But basically in the role we'll be using he's a glorified linebacker. And in that role, he's a RAS of a 6.09. So this is 8 spots later than the consensus, so very realistic. I don't know that... I thought that I had read that we had met with him, but I couldn't find anything. So, yeah, Antonio Johnson Jr. After that, with our next pick in the 3rd round, I believe we're at 71 here. Running back Devin Achane. He had an 82.4 PFF grade. His RAS is only 5.73, but this guy's got 4.3 speed. This is 4 spots later than the consensus, so very realistic spot. But this guy's a special runner. He's a track athlete. Eric Bieniemy is going to get this guy into space, and he's going to be special. So I think he perfectly rounds out the running back group. We got the hammer in Brian Robinson, and then we got Gibby receiving out of the backfield, and this guy's just lightning fast. It would be the perfect complement to those two guys, and he's worth taking this high. Like right at the beginning of the 3rd round is a value for him. After that, another 3rd round pick we got from trading back here, cornerback Darius Rush from South Carolina. He had a 77.9 PFF grade, and he's new to the position. He's only been playing corner a couple years. This guy was a wide receiver coming into college, and still 77.9 PFF grade and a 9.80 RAS score. This dude's 6'2", 200 pounds, and he still ran a 4.340. This is 8 spots after the consensus. We had an informal Senior Bowl meeting, and we went to his Pro Day and had a meeting, so we have shown interest in him. Darius Rush is the size profile we love, but speed like we don't even imagine in our secondary. This is just plus upon plus. He's a guy that can be molded into a top tier cornerback, and to get somebody like that, like Ron Rivera does in the 3rd round, I mean, it's the most Ron Rivera thing to do at this point. After that, with our last 3rd round pick here, Offensive line, I'm saying this guy is going to be a guard, convert in the NFL. Jaelyn Duncan, he's a local guy. He's from Maryland. He only had a 66.1 PFF grade this year, but he's got a 9.55 RAS. The dude's a freak athlete. He's great in motion. Like, this is a great run blocker. He could come in now and just run over cats, but he kind of looks lost in pass protection most of the time. So he's going to be a guy that's going to need to develop there. And it would help him out a lot moving inside, I think. So he put on a little bit of weight. He's only 310 pounds. If he puts on a little bit of weight, moves inside, I think he'd be a nasty, nasty guard. But he's definitely a more developmental piece, where a lot of the other offensive linemen I take in this draft, I think they could come in and start right away. Duncan, on the other hand, kind of a nice developmental piece that's too good of an athlete to pass up here. Then with the first pick of the 4th round, with us not quite knowing, I mean, we assume that we're going to pay Cam. Like, we assume. I mean, it would be ridiculous not to, but you got to plan for the worst. And even though I took Antonio Johnson, who I think, definitely would fill out that Bobby McCain role, playing the nickel and give us a massive upgrade there, I'm going to take another swing at the bat and take Quan Martin here. Now, some people might think that Quan is about 19 spots earlier on the consensus board, but, 19 spots isn't far for somebody to fall. So, here at 103, Quan Martin, he had a 73 PFF grade, a 9.29 RAS. He is another just amazing nickel player. But unlike Antonio Johnson, he can also play free safety. So he's got a bit of the versatility like Cam Curl. And so it's just good to have those type of versatile pieces, because that's what our secondary hinges on. I try to tell people that the safeties in our secondary are way more important than the actual cornerbacks, because of just the scheme and how Ron and Jack have it going. They're far more important. So let's let's stock up on a couple of them when we have a chance here. Now, he was a top 30 visit guy. We had an informal meeting at the Senior Bowl. We had an informal meeting at the Combine, and we had a Pro Day meeting. So they definitely have interest in Quan Martin. So here, doubling up on the nickel position. Then, tripling up on the corner position, Corey Trice, another one of my guys. I got him right there with Brents. These guys, the only thing that's dropping Corey Trice down this far, I think, is a little bit of an injury history. But he's also 6'3". He's a 9.65 RAS score guy. He had a 75.4 PFF grade. He's right there neck and neck with Brents from production. He's a little faster with a 4.4 40, and this is 2 spots before the consensus, so taking him a little bit earlier there. But we had a informal combine meeting and a pro day meeting with him, so they have shown interest. I think Corey Trice is massively underrated. This guy was getting projected up until 3 weeks ago. People were projecting him nearly under, like in the 230s. And then finally, PFF was the first place to put him up to the 3rd round, and now he's starting to get more hype. But this is another guy I've been banging the table for since November. So I would love to see the team get this trio of their types. Ben St. Juste pluses. These guys are all better athletes than Ben St. Juste, and they all have the length and the size to stand up to the CeeDee Lambs and the A.J. Browns of the division. After that, finally helping out the linebacker position, Dorian Williams. He's my linebacker 3 in this draft. I love this guy. He's good in coverage. He's got a 83.3 PFF grade. He's got an 8.81 RAS score. He's a guy that looked way more polished than the Dion Henleys and the Overshones of the draft, but people were saying that they had more athletic upside. But then when testing time rolled around, Williams was a better athlete than both of them. So he's more polished, he's a better athlete. Those guys are projected higher. I don't get it. I mean, I was a big Dion Henley guy for a long time, but I think Dorian Williams has got him beat. Plus, he's got like 34-inch arms, so he can get back in those passing lanes and he can handle it. This is 12 spots before the consensus. He was a top 30 visit guy. We had a pro day meeting with him. We had a Senior Bowl meeting with him. So the team is definitely interested, and I'm thrilled. After that, center Ricky Stromberg, 82.4 PFF grade and a 9.57 RAS. I have no idea why this guy is projected back here in the 4th, 5th round, 6th round in some places. I have no idea. This is my center too. I have him right after, like, when all things considered, his talent, his performance, and his athleticism, I have him right behind John Michael Schmitz. John Michael Schmitz edges him out because he's just technically better in everything. But Ricky Stromberg has the total overall package. He's got enough technique to go in and start now. He's a plus athlete, and he's performed in the SEC. So he's a guy that we could get in the 4th, 5th round here, and I think could come in and start. Again, top 30 visit guy. Thank God that the team is in on him. Shrine Bowl informal, combine formal, and a pro day meeting. So Ricky Stromberg is definitely on the team's radar. I got him here 22 spots before the consensus. At pick 133, I got him early. There is no reason this guy should be going after pick 133. So the next pick, we got safety / nickel / linebacker, probably at the next level, Marte Mapu. He had an 80 PFF grade last season. He doesn't have any testing numbers, but this guy is 6'3", 217 pounds. He's the size that Fred Warner plays at. You know, Fred Warner weighed in at like 230 for the combine, but they say he plays at 217, and he's that size, that mold, and he actually has that kind of change of direction, I think, in the 3 or 4 games I was able to find to him. But I really like the guy. It's kind of I've only seen 3 or 4 games, so it would be kind of a leap of faith, but he impressed greatly at the Senior Bowl. We had an informal day meeting with him there. We went all the way to Sacramento State for his pro day. We had a meeting there, so the team's interested in him. Yeah, I think this guy could plug in and be the big nickel, or he could play linebacker and really help us out. After that, got us some more help at linebacker, and this is one of my draft. Like, I love all these guys. These are all my guys, but draft crush right here. Yasir Abdullah. Bootleg is actually really big on him. I didn't know that, but I saw a video of him with the bootleg guys, Brett and EJ, and he's awesome. This guy was a defensive end all through college at like 237 pounds, 6'1", and just killed it. This guy's getting 10 plus pressures and 10 sacks in the last 2 seasons, or 10 plus tackles for loss, and like 30 some pressures a season, something crazy. This guy is a beast. He knows how to get in the backfield and wreak havoc, but he's going to convert to linebacker at the NFL, and he has displayed the hips, the fluidity, and, flashes in coverage that you don't worry about it. Like, this guy is picking off passes. I mean, he intercepts the ball, drops back into coverage. He can man up, play like a freaking DB. He's going to have the easiest transition to linebacker possible. And he could have been a beast there the whole time. 94.2 PFF grade and 96.3 RAS scores. Guy's got, 4.4 speed. Again, the team hasn't, shown interest in this guy. He's definitely a my guy, but I can't see how maybe this is like a Jahan Dotson case where they've seen the tape and they're like, yeah, we don't even need to meet that guy. They've seen like the video with Brett, the interview, and they're like, yeah, that guy's cool and he's a hell of a player. We'll take him if he's there. After that, a true defensive end, in case the Chase Montez situation, or just because Shaka Toney, my man, made a horrible mistake. But going to take a defensive end here with Viami Fioku, Junior Fioku, 90.9 PFF grade on the season. He only had a 5.54 RAS, but this dude is just a mauler. Like, he's getting in the backfield. You're not stopping him. He's pressuring the quarterback. He had, I don't know, was it like 60 pressures or 60 hurries or something this past season. He is just always in the backfield, always wrecking the play, always causing problems for the offense. It'd be a great guy to add to the team. Kind of in that like FAO bottom mold where he's an inside-outside guy. Kind of like a little Chase Young type size. Nobody's quite as, bendy and explosive as Chase, but that kind of mold. Just way lesser, but way more productive. And we had an informal meeting at the Shrine Bowl with him, and we went to his pro day at San Jose. So it's another out-of-the-way school. So if we went to his pro day, I mean, we got to have interest. Finally, pick 15, another guy that I have no clue why he is so low. We're even getting him here 14 spots before the consensus. So we're taking him 14 spots early at 180, and it's ridiculous. Bryce Ford-Wheaton from WVU, wide receiver who I think would be the perfect tight end conversion for Eric Bieniemy. Talk about wanting a Travis Kelce type. I mean, he only had a 69.7 PFF grade, but this guy's got a 9.97 RAS as a wide receiver and a 9.66 RAS as a tight end. He's 6'4", 221 pounds. He's got like 34-inch arms. This guy was a jump ball machine at WVU. Just red zone threat. Running deep jump balls the whole time. Like, at that size, he has 4.3 speed, which is just something you won't see anywhere else at tight end. I don't think we even need to make him gain weight to play tight end. We don't need to concern him with even learning how to block. We just scheme this guy like a tight end with his 4.3 speed and tap into something special. I really think that he could give us that Kelce type. If Eric Bieniemy schemes him like that, this guy has all the tools. I mean, he's basically the same size, just 10 pounds lighter than Evan Ingram and faster than Evan Ingram, who's the fastest tight end in the NFL. He's the same size as George Kittle, just 20 pounds lighter and way faster. So he's right there. He can play tight end. Just scheme him as one. Don't concern him with blocking. Yeah, and it'll be a genius pick for everybody who wanted to go first round Dalton Kincaid. they'll look real silly when this 6th-round pick is the best receiving tight end in the league inside of 2 years. So that's the draft. That's the 15 picks. Now, just to, I want to look. There's quite a few players that Washington has shown interest in that are projected pretty far down the consensus big board, and I think they could actually end up as undrafted free agents. And we should bring in quite a few of those guys, even with a huge draft like this. Bring in some of those guys to compete at bottom of the roster stuff. Maybe we find a gem. First off, looking at the linebacker position, there's a couple guys we had visits with that are projected pretty late down the consensus board. Like Kyle Soleil from Arizona State. He's at 339 on the consensus big board. Like, this guy's an undrafted guy. But he is 6'3", 230 pounds. He's got a 9.27 RAS. He's a tackling machine. He's got flashes in coverage. And like I said, top 30 visit, Shrine Bowl visit, Pro Day visit. So they definitely have interest in this guy. But I think they need to, stand pat, let this guy go undrafted, then bring him in. After that, Jaelyn Graham, a guy they had an informal meeting with at the Shrine game, and then they had a pro day meeting with. He goes to the same school as Corey Trice, Purdue guys. He's a safety conversion at linebacker. He had poor testing, which dropped him, even further down boards than he was. But I think this guy's got the instincts to be a really good coverage linebacker. I really like Jaelyn Graham. Then Mahamoud Diabate. Now he's at 247 on the consensus big board, so he's like right on the cusp of being a possible undrafted free agent. But they've already shown a lot of interest in this guy. They had a Shrine Bowl informal meeting, Senior Bowl informal. They had a pro day meeting with him. And it's not hard to see why. He's 6'3", 230 pounds. He was a 9.11 RAS. He's got 4.5 speed. And he has a nose for getting in the backfield and making plays, sacks and TFLs. So if he slides off the board, they're definitely going to bring this guy in. Then another linebacker, Isaiah Moore. He's 263 on the consensus big board. He's got a chance to fall out of the draft. We had a combine informal and a pro day meeting with him. Another 6'2 plus, 230 pound tackling machine linebacker. Quick and disruptive in the backfield. But this guy's got a bit more potential in coverage. Even if he is a little bit less athletic, he's got the instincts to, let him survive in coverage. So Isaiah Moore's another guy. You got Shaka Hayward, who tested really good, another 6'3 guy. You got Troy Brown, who was a guy I really liked coming in. He used to play at Western Michigan, I think. He transferred to Ole Miss. Didn't make any big waves this year. He's at 355 on the consensus. He's probably going to go undrafted. Jeremy Banks from Tennessee was a straight-up tackling machine. He's at 264 on the consensus. He stands a chance of going undrafted. Then we got another top 30 visits guy who's a safety, nickel prospect. Played corner this year. Kedron Smith from Kentucky. Like I said, they had him in for a top 30 visit. 6'2", 205. He had bad athletic testing, but he had an awesome PFF grade at 85.6. And after switching over from safety to corner last season, he's just balled out. He's a legit playmaker, and I don't know, he's gone completely unnoticed. Maybe the testing did it, but I didn't hear anything about him before then. So I liked the film, and apparently they did. So this is another guy we could potentially get undrafted that could be a gem, a sleeper. Then my man Jake Bobo, he's 297 on the big board, so he's looking like he's going to fall off, maybe go undrafted. 6'4", 206 pounds from UCLA. We had the East-West Shrine Bowl informal meeting. We had a combine informal meeting. We had a pro day meeting. He's big, and he's really shifty for his size. Like, he's good at getting open. I mean, he can make contested catches, but he just finds spots and gets open. So, Jake Bobo, give us that size we need. I mean, even if we get, Bryce Ford and we make him a tight end, maybe we still want to get a bigger wide receiver. This is a guy who I honestly, as much as I like him, I think he's going to go undrafted because he just doesn't have the speed to his game. But, he just gets open with savviness. He's like a big version of that Purdue guy that Ed Oliver liked last draft. I can't think of his name, but that Purdue guy that was the slow as molasses, but he just got open. And he's kind of like that, but he's not that slow, but he's not fast. But he gets open and he makes catches. After that, Antoine Green from UNC, Tar Heel. He's probably going to go undrafted. We met with him at the East-West Shrine game informally, and he is the great value Dyami Brown. He's not special as a burner, at 4.4 speed. That's not special deep speed. I mean, it's fast, but it's not special. But he's just got a way of getting open on deep balls, just like Dyami did. And not quite as good as Dyami at, varying the route speed and always getting open, but still capable of, similar things. And, he's a guy Sam leaned on, a little bit after Dyami was gone. So bringing another familiar face in for Sam would not be a bad idea. Then we got running backs. We got Ronnie Brown from Shepherd, which is, right up the street from me. We had a top 30 visit from him. I mean, he's definitely going undrafted, but it'd be awesome to see us pick him up. Evan Hall is a guy I really like, and he's far enough down the consensus board that he might, slip out. I would be flabbergasted if he did, but he's a very good receiving running back, can kind of do it all. Like 6 foot tall, 215 pounds. Really like the guy. Got a high RAS. So if he slides off the board, we need to call him up. Then a kick returner, Darius Davis. Don't know if he's going to slide out off the board, but if he does, we're definitely in the market for kick returners. And he was this year's Jet Award winner, so he's a beast kick returner. Also, Nico Remigio, and he's way down at 467 on consensus board, so he's going undrafted, but he's a kick return wizard, so he's definitely somebody we should look at. Malik Knowles from Kansas State, way down at 329 on consensus big board. Absolute anomaly. He's a 6'3" return ace, which you don't see any of those. Then there's some guys like if EB is possibly looking for a fullback, which there's some rumors is that. I mean, Braden Willis listed as a tight end, but he's more of a fullback from Oklahoma. We had an informal meeting at the Senior Bowl with him, and we had a pro day meeting. Then Louisiana Tech, Griffin Herbert, fullback. This guy is a former wide receiver. He's like 6'1", 230 pounds, and he's a perfect 10 RAS at fullback. Guy's a beast. Not a lot of fullbacks can make plays like he can. He's the main playmaker in their offense, and he's a fullback. So he'd be great. Trenton Thompson from UTEP, another impressive fullback. But there's tons of talented linebackers, safety, nickel tweeners in this draft. AJ Finley, Nico Bolden, who all probably will go UDFA, who be, nice to add to our, undrafted free agent pool. And, even with a massive draft like this, it's always good to add this kind of talent. It'll boost the roster and give us something that could really change this franchise in this new era of Washington football. An era where this proud franchise can once again command respect. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe, ring the bell, so you can find your way back to some of the most opinionated and ice-cold calculated takes on all things Washington Commanders. I'll be back soon to talk about all the talent that we bring in with this draft, and hopefully we'll hear some of the names in this video. But you stuck around this long. I love y'all. Peace.